Daryl, you ready? Jim, you ready? Chris, everybody, ready?
Yep.
Taneytown Plan and Zoning Committee, please come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. Would you please stand to the pledge of the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the records reflect the members that are present here this evening. Commissioner members should have received the draft minutes of February 26, 2024. Is there any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Yes, I think Mr. Bollinger's name is Arvin, not Marvin.
You change that then?
I'd be glad to, sure.
Okay. Any other conditions? Okay, all those in favor of the motion with the changing of the name, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, unanimous, thank you. Delegates and action items. First item on the agenda tonight, Taneytown Auto Parts, Pat Small. Daryl, you want to lead us off on the request?
Sure, Mr. Small's here tonight to present to us his latest plan with the new building and place it on the lot. And some different, the updated drawing showing the four doors on the Roberts Mills side, so the,
Are they on the Roberts Mill side or on the opposite side?
To actually be on the opposite side.
Opposite, not facing
Trying to
Roberts
think
Mill,
which
but on the
end.
opposite side.
Yeah.
I think the
Be
minutes
facing in,
actually,
inward, not the,
yeah, okay,
I think the minutes actually reflect that, so that
It
may
goes
need to
into
be,
the parking lot.
correct.
Oh, okay.
okay, good.
Okay.
that may need to be revised on these
Yeah.
minutes, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
approve that, but I
They
didn't
do.
catch that to ask that question.
Actually, when I read the minutes, I thought I misunderstood the last meeting. That's what,
Oh, no, they're in the parking lot. Yeah, yeah.
And they're
okay.
not facing Robert Mill Road.
That makes
Facing
more
the other
sense.
I drove by and I saw two of them were, that you have now, face Roberts Mill Road too. those doors.
Originally, yes.
Yeah.
Now, yep. Yeah.
Does your old drawing have it the other way around? Because I think that's what.
I don't think it actually really was a
Yeah, I don't
picture
think
where
it
the
was-
doors were.
Right.
It was just a generalized picture of the building.
Okay.
But yeah,
Doors facing in this.
inward towards the
Six
parking lot.
doors, right?
Four. It's only four doors.
Four now, but.
Yeah, it was, before it was more, yeah.
I changed my mind like 3 times or just reading that.
All right.
Good.
You want
That
to
makes
lead off on this, or Daryl?
I think, yeah, good, Pat.
So, as I proposed before, it was a different size of the building, so to stay under a certain thing, we decided to go with the size of the building, 62 by 80, which would be 4,960 square feet, and still tear down two of the buildings, remain 10 foot off the property line, have lighting that would be directed, vertically, just for sight and whatever, and be used for storage for the shop for Taneytown Parts.
Okay. Any comments or questions from anyone?
So the note from the engineer doesn't matter anymore.
Right, because we're under the
Now,
5,000
Right
square
now, we're under
foot.
5,000 square feet.
So that allows us, if we wish, to waiver the site plan. Am I correct on that, Daryl?
Yes, sir.
Is Jay with us tonight?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other comments? Jim?
Clarification is so there are still additional buildings that are going to be demolished that are.
Yeah, there's still gonna be-
Are they all like within this footprint of the 4,900 square feet?
I think, do you have a copy? I'll show you.
Yeah.
It's still the same buildings, these buildings right
So
here.
the 5,000 is undisturbed.
I just want to clarify that
Yes.
it's not that the building itself can't be over 5,000 square
Right.
feet. The disturbed area can't be over 5,000 square feet. So we just need to make sure that whatever's being torn up is within that 5,000 square feet.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So there are existing slabs under the buildings that are being
There's
torn down, we're gonna
concrete.
leave the slabs in place.
There's concrete under all of them.
Stay that way.
Still, yes, with concrete.
Doesn't count as disturbed soil?
Right, because you're not disturbing it, because you're only disturbing what you need to disturb to build the
I'm
building.
good. I'm good, yep. That was one thing I didn't understand, yep.
All right. Any comments from the floor? Anything from the county? Thank you. Okay, I'm looking for a motion. Please state what the motion's for.
I move that we approve the site plan waiver for Smalls Auto Parts for the proposed new building and to demolish the existing buildings. That's
Is there a second to that motion? Second. Second by Bill, made by,
Should we amend the motion to make sure that the disturbed area stays within the footprint of the new building?
I don't think that needs to go into motion because that's
that's
already part of what we have in front of us.
All right. Then I'm good with it.
No other comments? All those in favor of honoring the request for a site plan waiver, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Next item on the agenda is a minor subdivision. We've had that back quite a few months ago, and I don't believe there was any action taken at that time because there was a question about the side setback, right?
Initially, there was going to be a scenario where they were going to look to, in the R 7500, it says that there's 2 equal front yards. So they were just sort of entertaining the idea of trying to get that reduced, but the buyer has thought it through, and they're going with the normal setbacks. In your paperwork is the R 7500 setbacks. It all fits. They have all the county review stuff is done and ready for final approval. I also included in the your packet the verbiage for what you guys can do as a planning commission with that. I think this project is good to go. And this gentleman's going to present his information.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi, Jeff Ziegler with CLSI. Yeah, as Darrell mentioned, we did make the adjustments to the division of the 2 properties to make sure that we could honor both setbacks off of Baumgardner and Tawny Heights Drive. So everything's in compliance with the current zoning. We're proposing 2 houses. They're right now on the plans a little over 1,000 square feet per story. It'll probably be a 2-story dwelling with a 2-car garage. I don't have any definite footprints yet, but I'm being told that's what they're looking to propose to build there. As Darrell mentioned, we do have all of our county approvals from everyone, and the last comments that we received from CDM was resubmitted back to them. And I think Darrell had talked to them that they are, they have looked at everything and everything looks in order.
Yeah, they approved water and sewers to storm management, yes.
Okay. So your request tonight is for the approval of the subdivision. So once we approve that, it won't be coming back to us for any other approval because it'd be part of inland
Yes.
development, right? So this, if you have questions, now's the opportunity to bring them up as far as building heights or anything else that you may have concerns about.
I got a question. I do need some education on the paperwork that we got here. So what's the difference between the setback line and the front yard depth?
Darrell, is that something you want to answer for us?
Yeah, I got to find it first.
think the chart's on the back of,
Sorry, Dan, what is your question, sir?
Yeah, okay, so if you look at your chart two, page 2 of 2, the chart for 7,500, so you have a setback line, and then you have a front yard depth. So got the front yard depth, saw it on the drawings, 35 foot. So the setback line says 60 feet. So when I looked up the definition of setback line, it says that's from the road to the any portion of the building or structure from the right of way of the property line, so I'm just not sure how we meet both.
Okay, so the setback line is one of those really horrible things in our code. Jim and I have discussed this a number of times. It's not super clear what it is, but it's been there forever. Our setback for R75 for the front yard is 35 feet, period. So that line, that setback line, we don't use that one in that middle there.
I think your question is regards the 40, 60, and 35.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's in the reading of the chart. The chart isn't very clear. This talks about the lot width at the street and the lot width at the setback line. So these two numbers here refer to the width of the lot, not to the setback. The setback line is that.
So where it says setback line, it doesn't refer to the setback?
Lot width at the setback line in feet.
and that's from the curb, that's right, from
The 35, yes.
from the curb.
Yeah, so 35 makes sense, that's what we have everywhere else in town, I understand it, I just didn't understand this chart, because when I see setback line and the definition that we have, I don't see how it matches up to our plan, that's all.
Sometimes those charts don't always match.
Yeah, that chart, I
we
don't
found
know,
that quite a
we've
few
never really,
times.
I mean,
It's been interpreted by different zoning administrators different ways over the years.
Sounds like
I've-
something to fix it, okay, I mean, okay.
You okay with
I think a little bit of
explanation?
clarity in that chart would be, because I think that's what it means. It's like, this is the width of the lot at the street, this is the width of the lot at the setback line, but it's not real clear because there's no alignment on the chart to tell you anything.
I would have never got that definition.
Good question, though.
So,
Well, I gave up on it.
But I think you're right. I don't have it in front of me, but I think he's right with his explanation.
cool. So somebody can educate me one day,
Yeah.
I'd like that. So then, so we're approving a final subdivision plan tonight?
That's the only thing, subdivision.
Okay.
Take one lot, divide it into two.
This way we have this out of code.
Yeah, right. So it says in our code here that the final subdivision plan shall be based on the approved preliminary subdivision plan, which we don't have a preliminary. And then it says, or by an agreement by the mayor and city council. So,
You do have a preliminary plan that was
So that-
submitted. That's
know-
that includes the stormwater management
Right.
that
Yeah.
CDM
so,
approved.
yeah, so I saw preliminary on that, got it. But we're approving the final, okay.
Well, I think we have two different articles, because this is a minor subdivision as opposed to I think that refers to major subdivisions. And-
Back in August of 2023 is when this was originally brought to us.
Right. But I don't know that we ever approved any preliminary
We didn't.
plans.
We didn't
We
approve
didn't.
anything.
It was just more of a presentation.
But my understanding is, under this article, Article 3 for a minor subdivision, that's not necessary.
The minor subdivision process gives you guys more discretion as to how.
Okay. And then have the public notification and comment been obtained?
that's what's happening tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep,
Right.
yeah, so I was good
And
with
it's
that.
been posted, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the sign on it, yeah, I did.
I'll ask for comments afterwards.
Yeah, so, yep, so I think I'm okay with everything. I think, and the only other question I had was about the style of the house, which Jeff already talked about that a little bit, so
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Any other questions? Any comments from the floor? Please come to the podium and identify yourself and your address.
Beverly Fair Spicknell. I live at 312 Tawny Heights Drive. The community from Baumgardner to Donny Drive has been in existence for over 60 years. If you walk and drive from Baumgardner up Tawny Drive and then down Tawny Heights, 98% of the homes are ranchers. The most recently built homes, probably in the 70s and 80s, on the north side of Tawny Heights, closest to Baumgardner, are split level. These homes fit nicely into the look of our community. As a community, I am concerned and believe that there are many others who are concerned about how the proposed new homes will not fit into the look and will not be aesthetically pleasing and will certainly look out of place. I want to say that personally, I do not include the south side of Baumgardner as part of our community, which is, I forget the names of the courts, but anyway.
Right across the street there.
Over there. And I believe there are many others feeling the same way. There is also a major concern regarding the condition of the existing water and sewage systems. I understand that there is a formula and method to determine how much usage is anticipated and if an existing line will be able to handle that amount of water waste. With 2 homes being planned, how many bedrooms and bathrooms are included, and what is the town's evaluation of the condition of the line on the lower south side of Tawny Heights? I would like to have this specific issue clearly explained and addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim or Daryl, would either one of you like to make comments on that?
Well, I'll start with the idea of what's going to be built on the lots, provided it meets the minimum square footage for a single-family dwelling in the district, and it meets the setback requirements and the building height limitation, which is 35 feet. That's the only thing that the zoning code speaks to. So a lot of the things, as far as like whether it fits into the community and things of that nature, that's not part of the minor subdivision process. And to the best of my knowledge, there aren't any neighborhood covenants or restrictions like a homeowners association that would govern what can be built there. So really trying to control what kind of house goes on there, it just needs to meet it. The code doesn't give you that authority. So it has maximums and minimums, but that's the only thing the zoning code speaks to. Outside of the historic district, there are no design standards in the city code. So it really is up to the builder, the owner of the property, to put what they think will sell or what they think will work for the lots. Unfortunately, it doesn't give, the code doesn't give you the latitude to dictate what can be put on the lots, just the details of the lots themselves.
Okay. There again, just to remind everyone, their task before us this evening is to subdivide the lot. And this be the only opportunity that comes back to us.
I mean, I certainly understand the community's, the neighbors' point of view who have, seen the lot, vacant or as a garden for many, many years. And I certainly understand the point that, yes, almost everything out there is a rancher. No argument there, but it's just, that's beyond, like, what the house looks like is beyond zoning. The zoning is more about, the setbacks and the size of the lots and the use that goes on within it, but not what it looks like necessarily.
Who would we contact
Um,
to find that out?
Well, that's how our zoning code works. So we don't have the authority to tell somebody what the house has to look like for a subdivision, for a minor subdivision.
So J.A. Myers is the owner and developer of the property. They're going to build something that's compatible with the neighborhood that's going to sell, because their name's going to be behind it. The 2-story was mentioned to me with the 2-car garage as what they think they might put out there, but I don't know. They haven't given me any firm plans of what they're proposing, but I can certainly reach out to them and let them know the neighborhood's concerns.
It would be nice if we had something to look at.
Ma'am, excuse me, would you come to the mic and your name and your address?
Valerie Sharp, 314 Tawny Heights Drive. My other, what I want to ask you, do you know what the square footage of these houses are going to be?
I don't know. They're proposed right now as a little over 1,000 square feet per floor.
Okay.
But
So the first floor is going to be garages, and then they're going to go up.
But in that neighborhood, that would fit.
What do you think the median price is going to be on those? I'm just,
This market is hard to
thinking a
tell.
little outside the box, I guess.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So I have not heard explained and addressed the issue of the water and sewage with the amount of square footage and the number of bedrooms and bathrooms that are going to be in there and the amount of water that is going to be used in all of the facilities that they're going to have. I need to know comfortably that that's been handled by the town because I live exactly directly across the street from them. And there is potentially, for me, some concern about water and sewage.
There is adequate water and sewage. We keep on hand X amount of EDUs of water for this type of activity. We've recently spent $7.1 million up along Roberts Mill. So I don't know if you all noticed any changes at your home, but there's been changes improvement-wise for all of those things from that project. We have plenty of water, we have plenty of sewer. Our utility people met out with CLSI's people to make sure that everything's good to go. We anticipate no problem like we don't anywhere else right now.
So all of the water and the waste that they're going to be using, the pipes on Tawny Heights is going to be able to manage that? Is that what
Absolutely.
you're telling me?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, without doubt,
Yeah.
100%.
That's why we have engineers.
This is directly across the street. Okay, and it's elevated, right?
I'm
Compared,
a rancher. Nope.
the house, but the lot.
The lot, no.
No,
Besides
Our
you,
lot is on
your
the
lot's on the corner.
They put, when that house was built, the way I understand it is they put close to 10 dump loads of dirt on that because of the history of the property being extremely marshy, and I can attest to it because I've got water in my basement.
Okay.
So,
Any other comments? Anything in the county? Just-
one other thing.
Square feet's the minimum.
I have a very old septic or sewer line, and I've already looked into, just in case, with these new buildings going in, they want to hook up to the line that's right in front of my house. I'm very, very concerned because my home is old, and if something happens and it backs up, I don't have a flapper because it wasn't required back then. And after some investigation and talking to Daryl and talking to my insurance company, I'm SOL if something happens. And in order to redo that, it's almost $32,000 because they got to take up my complete concrete driveway. So I was a little concerned on if they had to hook up to that one or scoot it around, go across Baumgartner over to that development because there's a line right there also.
Okay, well, that'd be part of the engineering when it comes time for the houses, for
Well, I know they want to come right across because that's going to save the developer a lot of money.
okay,
And that's not my concern.
Valerie.
understand.
What's the good news your insurance agent gave you? She was there how many years?
And she was talking about Ocean City,
Okay.
where the developments there aren't as old as the development, our
Right.
street is. And she said in the last 17 years, they've only had a handful of these problems, but it did happen. So,
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion. And there again, it is for a minor subdivision of the property on Tawny View.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minor subdivision. I think everything appears to be in order as far as the subdivision goes.
Okay, motion made by Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Tillman. Any further discussion? Any more comments from the floor? All those in favor of the motion of the minor subdivision of 20 View, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, likewise?
Aye.
Okay, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 1 against. Mr. Brown was opposed. Next item on the agenda. Taneytown Elementary School pre-kindergarten and kindergarten addition. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You wanna
Which one of
introduce-
you's Bill?
That's me. I'm Bill Kane. I'm the facilities planner for the school system. We have Austin Hancock, our civil engineer with site resources. Jim Marks, our supervisor of construction, and Jennifer Lyons, our architect with Mosley Architects. The concept plan submitted is for kindergarten slash pre-kindergarten classroom addition. We're adding 4 classrooms to the school.
If I may interrupt you for a second. It's concept site plan presentation, right?
Correct.
No action tonight,
Correct.
presentation.
Correct.
Okay.
So I might add, sir, if I could just interrupt for 1 second.
Okay.
This program, this plan is flying through the county review. So they're most likely to be back here, easily be back here in next month for a concept approval. And again, it's moving quickly. Okay.
Okay.
Next month or May, we'll see how quickly if we get the sign up.
So the sign, there's not a sign up yet?
No, for tonight there was, but we'll have to do another sign for the next meeting, so.
All right, continue.
So I don't have a formal presentation, I just, I think you have the plans. Again, it was a small 4 classroom addition, limited site disturbance. We don't anticipate, it's really to handle the extra kindergarten classes that are already in the school, and then the anticipation of the growth of pre-kindergarten because of the Maryland Blueprint law that passed recently, expands pre-K in the future. So we're trying to be a little proactive and add the pre-K classrooms that we need and address the kindergarten addition. The other schools received their kindergarten additions, the other elementaries, back in 2006 to 2010. Taneytown was one of 4 elementary schools that didn't receive one, mainly because they had the extra room. They were under capacity, but they're getting close to capacity, so they need the space now. So be happy to answer any questions. I think Daryl has the plan he can pull up if need be, and Austin's the technical guy, so any technical questions.
You say this is not to include any additional kids, children? This is just to take care of what you have there now?
It's to take care of the need for 4 kindergarten classrooms. So right now, they're housing them. They have a health class teacher on a cart. Once this is done, the health classroom teacher would go back into a classroom. They're using other spaces. It will provide the potential to handle more kids, they shuffle, the principals shuffle teachers around pretty good. It gives them more space to be able to accommodate that. But the pre-kindergarten is adding additional. The pre-kindergarten classroom will handle an extra 20 students, 4-year-olds. So there is some increase to the capacity.
Okay, I guess what I'm leading up to is anything about the traffic.
We don't anticipate really the pre-kindergarten kids will be either on buses or parents. We don't anticipate a major increase in traffic. The number of buses, the pre-kindergarten kids ride the same bus as the kindergarten through 5th graders. So the same number of buses are going to run for that geographic area that currently runs. So we don't anticipate any more buses.
It doesn't appear to be the bus issue as much as the parent drop-offs.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't know of any school in the county that doesn't have that issue. Without a larger property to queue all the parents, I don't know really how we can address that at this point. If we plan for 80 kids to get parent drop-off, then one year we'd have 150, because, it seems like every year it fluctuates, so.
So maybe change the 1 mile radius to a half-mile radius within the school would make a difference.
Yeah, that's for the Board of Ed. I can't speak for them, but they could certainly go back to, non-transportation for elementary school students. I don't know. That's a political, they're an elected board of education, so.
Thank you.
We've already had to address the crosswalk issue as it is, because they've, more kids are walking to school, and I get that. Then gets more parents dropping kids off at school because fewer are riding the buses. But that's a whole
Yeah,
different issue.
We would love for all kids to ride on the buses because they're paid for. It's, millions of dollars to pay for buses to run, so. Unfortunately, we can't force the parents to do that, so.
Do we have any additional questions, or?
Any change, there's no change to the parking on this. Is there any, I don't know if parking space requirements, how that formulate, what that formula looks like for schools as opposed to commercial buildings, but.
I'm not sure if the city has, most of even the county, most of the towns, the parking codes don't necessarily apply to schools because it's a unique use. Generally, we try to make sure there's enough parking for the staff, which there's adequate parking there for the staff, and then enough space in the bus loop generally to handle the buses. But newer schools, we do plan a parent drop-off area, but again, it's hard to plan for, especially after COVID, more and more parents are driving there. I think they got used to driving the kids, and then the kids don't want to go back to the buses, so.
Bill, is this 4 more, so it's additional space, but it's not 4 more teachers, it's 4 larger teaching areas, correct?
Yeah, so we're building 2 new kindergarten classrooms, but they have currently, the existing school was built with 2 kindergarten classrooms because it used to be half day, so they had morning and PM. Now that it's full day, they have 4 kindergarten teachers, but they're in like a empty first grade room or an empty computer lab or the health classroom. So those teachers will just move into 2 of the new spaces. There's an existing pre-K classroom that has a teacher, but in order to add on to the building, we have to take part of it to make the connecting corridor. So we're gonna replace that classroom in the addition. So that's one of the new pre-K rooms, but the teacher's just gonna move classrooms. And then the 4th classroom is a second pre-K classroom, which is for the expansion of pre-K. So that'll be a new staff person. I believe it's scheduled to, that staff person's gonna be hired this coming school year. So this fall, the teacher will be there this fall before the addition is even started, so.
Okay.
Any comments? Any comments from the floor? Okay. All right, that it? All right. Expect to see you
Yeah,
back
we'll
maybe
be
next
back
month.
soon. Yeah.
I'm sure you things.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Jim. And agreements for review? Evidently there's none. Daryl, would you like to go over your report?
Sure.
Give me a minute to pull it up here. Let's see, guys. Pardon me?
Like homecoming.
Yeah, homecoming, you're right.
Good.
Yeah.
So you've already seen the letter from CDM Smith for Mr. Small. So in the future, any package that comes in here with disturbing 5,000 square feet won't come with as a site plan waiver. Because the code says 5,000 square feet of disturbance, period. So I did get the information a little late, not an excuse, but that's what it is. You've seen the invitation. Please respond to that early in your packet there. A number of meetings at City Hall. We discussed the Taneytown Community Comprehensive Plan with a potential vendor on the 28th. And we are still looking at more information. But the comp plan should, hopefully we kick it off in the next X amount of months, okay? And, I'm hoping 3-4 months, whatever. That's wishful thinking perhaps, but also, and Mr. Chairman, certainly, you can discuss it at your leisure, but we should start looking at, if we're gonna start meeting minutes, our minutes starting earlier, or meetings starting earlier, we may want to start doing that to get used to it, to understand the time, and to be able to put some of this in, because still racking my head, and I want you all to think about it and give me some feedback as far as like, how do you see the meetings go? If we have our regular meeting, I'd like to keep the times consistent, whether it be 7:30 or 7, for at least, maybe it's just an interim period until the comp plan is complete. So that way, everybody's up to speed on that, and people get used to it out there and, in the community. And then, we need to just brainstorm a little bit of how the information is going to come to us from whichever vendor we use, and how we're going to take that information. We're going to do a mid-month meeting for that type of thing. So just flexibility and, just think about it a little bit, okay?
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more at the end of this meeting, okay? Okay. City Manager Wyprecht and I met with Daphne Daly, who's the Deputy Director for Carroll County Planning and Land Use Management. I was like to write that down 10 times a day. Yeah.
And our own Tiffany with Carroll County Planning to discuss some items with planning with Tiffany and Daphne, and it was a very nice meeting. I think we all got a lot from that. So I did meet as a courtesy with Carroll County Development Review on the Evapco's, what they call the storage lot out in Kraus Mill. It's pretty neat. We just, I just extended myself just to hear it because it's happening in our backyard, and there's no major relevations at this time. I don't know if it's discussed before, but they're not proposing to even light it now. So,
Do we have a starting date when they plan on breaking ground?
no, but with Vapco, they move pretty quick. Yeah, they like to get things done. So I imagine, it'll be pretty soon. So a lot of, let's see, also the county met with on the 12th, we met out down to Memorial Park expansion with the Morton Building people. And we hope to get things rolling out there. I think Lorraine is shooting for a third quarter, so we have to be, there is another project with our infrastructure through that space, so that's got to be taken care of before we do the park expansion. And then, of course, the mayor and the city council did adopt the Carroll County Hazard Mitigation Plan, and that paperwork went into them last week, so we're not in the rears. Tiffany, are you proud of us? Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. And then, as you see, there are quite a bit of review letters for both Tony Supply. That's nice. So that activity is still happening on that project. And then you have the elementary school. You see the activity that's been on that project. It's moving. So I think things will go pretty fast on that project. I don't know when their start date is, and I'm not sure they do either, but I think sooner rather than later, especially if they're going to hire a teacher in the interim. And I'm glad to see them have the, things in a row for that.
Okay.
Other than that, Chairman, I have nothing unless you have questions for me.
No, just one on Recovery 180.
Okay.
Where is that finalized now, or is that still waiting from paperwork from the state?
I was still waiting for paperwork from the state. Yeah, and that could be a while. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this works in the real world. I mean, if it were two private vendors working on something like this, someone would be, yeah, so not really much to say except for it's not any different than what it was last month.
Not fair for a developer to be tied down like that. I mean, we're talking about, what, a year ago? At least. Yeah, May of last year.
Yeah.
So, okay,
I hear you, sir.
thank you. Anybody have any other questions for him, for Daryl?
Nope.
All right, I guess we're ready to move into our legal update.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. It's good to be back on the team and in front of you. I am getting back up to speed on the things that I missed in my absence. And so I will probably be more productive for you at your upcoming meetings than I could be tonight. I did see that there were some questions the last week about the Open Meetings Act. And I know that Daryl provided you with some information. And if you feel that there's any specific questions, or if you want to have a short, like 10-minute tutorial or training at some point in the future, we can make that happen as well.
I think we would like that, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can work it in, maybe 10, 15 minutes, whatever it takes. I mean, there's some
Sure.
gray areas that I'm sure we have concerns with, and we're obligated to, I don't see in our commission where we will get to the point where we have a closed session. But
Yep.
if,
Well, you're entitled to, if we ever have that situation, usually it's for legal advice, and it would be nice to know, just like a football team, it'd be nice to know how you call a timeout while you're on the field. And we probably get you to know all those things. So I'll work with Daryl, and we can come up with maybe a 15-minute thing to happen at the end of your meeting. And there's some handouts I can get for you in advance so you can ask some questions and go for it from there.
Would, okay, if I send you some questions ahead of time?
Oh, that would be great. Yep.
All
If
right.
anybody has any questions, I can focus on them. That would be super.
can we run them through Daryl? Run all your
Yeah.
questions through Daryl at one point of contact?
That would be the best.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Jay.
Yep, thank you.
All right, gang. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Okay. County update.
Good evening. Good evening. Water sewer master plan spring amendments are going to there's 6 of them, and they're going to the county's planning commission on the 16th of April, just for presentation, briefing, and then they should move to the Board of County Commissioners next month, May, for public hearing and briefing then too, before going to the, to MDP for final approval on those. I'm sorry, MDE, Maryland Department of Environment. The housing study, we're still doing the setup for it. We hope to get the website and the survey posted within the next week or so, hopefully. We're just going over the survey for anything that we'd like to have added to it or changed in it before setting up the website. It'll be posted on there. We'll get a timeline up there of what's going to happen, and we are still looking at dates for coming out for public outreach for the housing needs survey. We're looking at possibly the flea market, and there's a cleanup day, and so we're just looking at those as possible things that we might be able to tack on to as far as coming. There'll already be public participation, so maybe we can get some input for the housing needs survey then, and then just the annual report. Still working on that right now.
Okay.
And that's everything.
Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Tiffany, can we talk tomorrow, probably Wednesday? Sure. Shoring that up. Thank you.
Anything under old business? You had a question?
I think, Teresa, do you have anything you want to bring up with the Allendale Lane that you spoke to me earlier about this week?
Please come to the mic.
Come on up to the mic and, yeah. I just want to make sure, I know you were here last week and I just want to make sure that your concerns are heard.
Well, my husband and I live on 5103 Allendale Lane, and we're kind of confused how this parking lot is supposed to go at the end of the road. Like, which way are they coming out or going, or, and then also,
We heard that they're gonna talk about widening the lane from 30 feet to 50 feet. I wonder where they come up with the numbers for 30 feet, because unless that's coming from, the main road back, it narrows as it goes back. It is not 30 feet as you come back. It's 25 feet at one area, because I measured it. If you're talking about coming out 50 feet, which side of the road are you doing? Or are you doing both sides when you widen? And we're the only house left back here, so that's why our concerns are. What's going on?
I don't know,
I'm not sure where you're getting your information from, because I don't think we've had that. They said they were going wide, and that was a possibility, but I don't think we've talked about distance or had anything back from Evapco yet on that, unless Daryl's received something.
Well, years ago, so the easement we were talking about is at the end of the lane on the right-hand side, to possibly widen it later down that part. The entrance to that parking lot will be, you come in off of 194, and the lot's on the left-hand side where the three houses were. So just take the last part of the, where the third house is, that will be about the alignment of coming in or out of that parking lot.
it's directly across from the existing entrance in. So where they turn now, turn right to go into the building today, the entrance for the new parking lot will be turning left at that exact same spot.
We did ask them to move that back further. But I can't remember all the details about that because of.
I think that was where they moved it back to. If I,
Oh, moved
Daryl,
it
is
back?
that?
Okay.
Yeah, so those three parcels will turn into one parcel. They're trying to dissuade the pedestrians getting out of the vehicles and walking over to the building by way of landscaping to come more up towards your place, but go across where the existing alignment is. That make sense?
So nothing is going to go, in terms of this lot, nothing's going to go past where their current entrance is now, where they turn right to go into the building. That's essentially the end of this lot.
And then, Roger, as far as the width of the road, that was one of the alignments, I think, originally for the bypass possibly coming out Allendale. That doesn't look like that works with that big building across it. Yeah, that alignment for that part of the planned major road is going to be most likely, if it happens, out Kraus Mill-ish area, coming across that way.
My new neighbor said when he bought the place behind us, I forget the name of it,
The tower company. Jacobs.
Consolidated Facility. He said that his property, before he can even buy it, has, the line on there for the bypass going through him.
Is this the recycler guy?
Yeah, which I don't understand how, that's already been approved too.
Yeah, about 2.5 years ago, he first contacted me. That was the Ebury property or something. In any case, we had asked him, hey, part of the alignment showed him going across that lot. So he went back to his person and switched everything over. So the building is on the right side of the lot now instead of the left, or vice versa. But that's just I took that as a sign of cooperation.
Something like that, shouldn't that be a hearing to say, hey, we got a business coming back here, let the town people know what's going on?
Well, right now, in my mind, that business of his is not there, I hope, because it's
But
not.
you already started putting fence posts down.
Well, okay,
I mean,
that's,
anybody put fence posts in, I don't mean nothing.
yeah. Yeah, but I've seen nothing concrete, other than a sketch, for that business or property. So I don't even know where the line would be for the road or not. Yeah, I got to see it. I got to see something before I comment on it.
Well, VAPCO, they were here in January, so they'll be coming back later on about those three houses as far as the parking lot.
And there will
So-
be
Pardon me?
a Board of Appeals hearing for
Yes.
the special exception to do that parking lot, so that would
It'd
probably
be a
be a
lot
good
of,
one
lot of
to attend.
opportunities for you guys to come in and give your opinion.
All the neighbors should be notified what's going on. Tanny stairs should be notified, grills should be notified. You know, when something happened over Westview Drive years ago, we got a letter in the mail saying, hey, this is what, you know, is going to happen over Westview Drive. To me, it seemed like everybody, it's a little bit, I don't know what the word I want to say, sneaky crap going on here.
I don't think it's sneaky, but because what the law requires is that if this is the subject property, it's the properties that are immediately adjacent and immediately across the street that have to be notified. If you're 2 properties away, by law, they don't have to notify you. So it's not so much sneaky as it's not what the law requires.
Well, you can say what you want, but to me, it sounds like it's sneaky.
Is that an accurate description?
When the hearing is scheduled, the property will be posted also. So certified letters will go out to all the contiguous property owners, but then the site will also be posted, so people who drive by who may not live right next door will still get some notice that the hearing is
But
coming.
the hearing has not been scheduled at this point in time, correct?
No.
And the same thing will happen with the site plan. Once we get to that point, the property will be posted and the contiguous property owners will be notified. But just for your information, though, the city's comprehensive plan does show Allendale Lane ultimately connecting to the Taneytown bypass. And I think that the project for the neighboring property that you were alluding to, and, you know, them having to shift things around, was to preserve that potential alignment for the future road. And in the county's transportation master plan, there is a recommendation that when the southeast portion of the bypass be built, that we consider connecting it to Allendale Lane as an interim step before the full bypass is built. So there is, in the big picture look, you know, the city's intent is that someday Allendale Lane will be a through street and connect to the bypass. We don't know when that will happen. It's been on the books for 30 years, but it's still on the books.
It was kind of going around then that there might be.
When I
But
first
that
moved to
was
town
30
34
some
years
years.
ago, we bought a house that was close to the proposed bypass. And so we, fortunately, because at the time I knew nothing about all of that stuff, fortunately, my brother-in-law was a civil engineer who thought to look at all that, and he was like, oh, there's supposed to be a street, you know, right across your backyard from, but, so, same drawing that we've been, that we've been hoping for the last, you know, 35, 40 years, but that's still the intent, is that someday that will be built.
Okay, so they're still planning on.
Right, nothing's been engineered yet, but there's still lines on a map that show it as the someday.
Is that gonna go by our property or through our property?
Yeah.
Or you don't know?
I don't think we know yet, so, but yes, your property is like right there where, you know, that's the unknown, is how, you know, currently, once you cross the railroad tracks and the road, you know, veers off to, if you're leaving 194 on the road, then makes that 90-degree towards Craft Mart. You know, that's the point that we have to work with. And that's pretty much right where your house is, or, you know, a couple 100 feet from that, if that. So there's some things, right, we just don't know yet.
We'll deal with that when we come to it. Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you.
Just feel free to ask if you have questions.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else for old business? New business? I guess the Open Meeting Act, we'll get into that later on.
Okay.
Was there anything else under new business we wanted to talk about other than the comp plan when we start? What's the feeling on, I guess, I have no problem coming in and starting at 7 o'clock, even make it out of workshop maybe to 7:30 or hitting in the middle of the month with a meeting. And then if we're working with one of the companies that we choose, then maybe they can have that stuff prepared for when we come in for our regular meeting, that we can talk it over and say, yes, this is what we want, have it open for the public. I mean, there's things we need to think about, but definitely we can't do it on a meeting like our standard meeting.
Do you think that half hour is going to be enough?
I think a half an hour maybe on a regular meeting night,
Okay.
but on the initial opening of, and I'm not sure how we're going to get into this chapter to chapter or whatever, we definitely going to need longer. And there again, if we're talking about middle of the week, maybe hitting 7 o'clock, 7 to 9, or whatever it takes. I mean, it's hard to set a time right now, but the idea is that we're all willing to do whatever it takes.
I think that's the question. First is, are we all amenable to, A, starting these meetings earlier? And more likely sounds like having an additional meeting at some point during the month. And I'm fine with that.
And that would be a designated workshop?
Yes.
I think so.
Right. Dedicated to nothing but strategic, the comprehensive plan.
And there again, any meeting we have is open to the public.
Yep.
Thing is to get the public to give us the input.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's, and that's what we raised last month at the council meeting about wanting get this as much public involvement as possible. And Jay, if you're still listening, that was, of course, one of the questions that we had because, other towns here in the county have gotten into trouble by their council showing up at planning commission meetings or vice versa. So we just want to make sure that we stay out of that trouble.
Yes, Sykesville is exactly what you're talking about. So we'll go over that to make sure everybody knows their lane to stay in.
Yes, and that and email correspondence and staying out of quorums and email.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm all for that.
good for that, Barry? Okay, looks like we're all in favor of whatever it takes.
And Mr. Chairman, I imagine that we will probably have one or two open house type public forums so that we can get some community inputs to, what the community sees as, the future of the city. And, they may not be, we may end up trying to use a different space like the senior center or something along those lines, so that we can have
Set up some
tables set
maps
up
and-
around the room, maybe with some displays or different, this room may not be big enough if we have, enough community members come out. And when we've talked about major planning issues, be it the city comprehensive plan or county rezonings, we've had a pretty good room full, at the senior center, at the senior and community center in past years. So, that might be a good venue for us to consider, but we'll get into that once we have a consultant on board and get their thoughts on, how those, we certainly hope that they're going to guide us through those, those work sessions to kind of pull out ask the right questions and, get people focused on the topics at hand. So,
Yeah, for the 2010,
think-
we had it at the fire hall too.
yeah, but I think we're going to need to, I would imagine the consultant, once we have them on board, will probably want to meet with the planning commission to begin with, but then we'll get into, kind of those discussion opportunities with, whoever wants to come out for them. So, and those might be a couple big meetings that kind of guide the rest of the process.
Okay. Anything else on that?
I don't think so.
Okay, moving on. The senior center, what happened to the buffer, the trees that was around, that they were taken out between the Shoemakers and the senior center? And those, wasn't that part of the landscaping project when they renovated that?
We will have to look back at that. I wasn't aware if anything was pulled out up there.
Okay.
So, but we can certainly go back and look at the landscaping plan and touch base with the county on that,
Okay.
Where at, Jim?
the senior
Senior
center, senior
center.
and community center.
Which area? Along Roberts Mill or?
Between Shoemakers and the senior center at
On the
Antrim Street.
downhill side of the new parking lot.
The back of it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I noticed in the Carroll County Times that we didn't make the top 5 Carroll County road projects. Did you see that?
Transportation projects.
Yeah.
It looks like April the 29th, will be our next scheduled meeting. That works for everyone. Last chance, anybody else for comments? If so, please come.
All this conversation has made me remember, is there any talk about what's going to happen on Baumgardner Avenue and the traffic and the speed? Has that been approached, talked about?
That wouldn't be
Discussed.
us. I
Yeah,
think
that wouldn't be this body, but have
council.
you talked to the mayor's office?
Not specifically, but I did at the forum back in the fall, so.
I would suggest you use there's an app called Taneytown Connect, and
I don't do apps.
okay, or you can simply email the mayor, or you can call in here and ask to speak to the mayor. And I know he holds, I don't know if he has regular office hours but he's here a lot. So you can certainly.
Okay, I was just kind of questioning as to,
Yeah, play
How to-
games.
I'm sorry, what?
You can go down and play games down the street.
No, thanks.
See the mayor.
Speeding, you can simply call the Taneytown Police Department.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's too fast.
Well, yeah, okay, I got you. But they also have, they do have a device that, it does the speed limit. It counts the vehicles, that type of thing. And if not, they have it throughout town.
Trailer, they can move it around.
Yeah.
Keeping it? Okay.
So, or they pole mount it, but, if they hear of a need and, and a lot of people are quiet about that. But if they start to hear the chief is very proactive, in getting that type of thing out.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I got you.
I've
Yeah,
lived-
yeah.
I've lived there for 45 years and it's worse than it's ever been, so.
We'll loop the police department in and get Baumgardner added to the list. So we have that. Well, we generally use basically a radar sign that it can be either turned on to display the vehicle speed that's going by, or we can use it just to collect data. A lot of times we use it just to collect the data because we don't want to influence the normal behavior, so we get a better idea of what really is happening. So that unit gets moved around the city, so we can certainly put Baumgardner Avenue on the list so that we can get out there.
I see it in so many other small towns.
Right.
And it really does raise to your own thought, whoa, how fast am I really going here?
And that also helps tell the police department then if they really do have an area where they need to spend more time or patrol more frequently or do traffic more frequently.
Thank you, I appreciate your help and guidance.
Chris, where are we at with the city council on our request for input from them about what they foresee of Taneytown?
I think that what I presented the list of questions, and obviously it was too much to try to cover in that meeting at the time. But we have asked the council to look into that, and I believe that answering those questions will become part of the overall scope of when we start meeting with the residents to really trying to bring in what we think about the comprehensive plan. And I think that those questions probably will get incorporated into the subjects of the meetings.
Okay. Well,
Anyway,
thanks for bringing that up, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can get information ahead of time or thoughts ahead of time. It doesn't have to be their final thoughts, but I wouldn't mind. We can,
I can suggest that you come to the next council workshop and ask. From the direct, so it's not just me.
Well, that's why we have a liaison.
That's right.
not-
But
well-
I've asked the
I'm
question.
not sure if I'm allowed to come because I haven't had the open meetings meeting yet with Jay. so-
You are, as a citizen, allowed to be there.
All right, anything else?
Got it.
Anything from the floor? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
needed that.
Thank you. Thank you, folks, for showing up.